Two Geeks, Two Beers podcast. Nerdy obsessions, drunken ramblings with Morgan Jeffrey and Tom Eames.
We want to wish you a Merry Christmas. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of our hearts. Two Geeks Navidad. Deck the halls, I'm Morgan Jeffrey. And over there, it's Tom.
You should sing the first bit as well.
No, that's it. I'm done. I haven't had enough to drink yet. How you doing?
All right, yeah. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Feeling festive?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I love your.
Yeah.
You can't see it if you listen to the podcast version, but you've got a cracking jumper on.
Yeah, if you're watching the video version, wearing my Space 1999 Christmas jumper, because I think it's important. We cannot stress enough that it is definitely Christmas.
No. It's not November 21st at the moment.
Why would you even say that? No, 100%. It's Christmas time. We're feeling festive, and last Christmas you gave us some flack. So the very next year, the festive feeling is back. This year, to save you from tears, we're giving you something special. The return of freaky franchises.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Now, well, listeners whose memories haven't been hampered by sherry will recall that one of our earliest episodes, episode 5 from back in 2015, was all about freaky franchises. Films that spawned sequels you had no clue even existed. Appropriately enough, 3 years later, that episode got a sequel of its own, Freaky Franchises 2. And now, another 5 years later, it's time for the threequel. Yes, just like Harold and Kumar 3, the third in the franchise is inexplicably Christmas themed.
Yeah, when you run out of ideas, just chuck some snow at it, and
Yeah, we've done well over 100 episodes now. Cut some slack. So coming up, how the WWE played a part in the release of a belated follow-up to a Christmas classic, a classic festive flick with a remake you'll know all about, and a few you might not, and a dodgy TV sequel, but with perhaps the greatest poster of all time. So I'm going to kick this one off with Jingle All the Way 2.
Yeah, I never knew this happened.
I didn't know this happened until relatively. This was what inspired the theme of this episode. I discovered that Jingle All the Way 2 was a thing. So you'll be familiar with Jingle All the Way, the 1996 festive flick, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad play competing fathers, each aiming to secure their son a Doberman action figure. It's a Christmas classic. It's also not very good.
No, I only saw it for the first time, I think, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I missed out on it, enjoying it as a kid. But I just really enjoyed it. I feel, it's Arnie having a great time. Yeah. I know this is rubbish, but it's great.
It's sort of objectively terrible, but subjectively quite fun. Yeah. But did you know a sequel of sorts was released 18 years later?
No.
Jingle All the Way 2 was released direct-to-home media on the 2nd of December 2014, though it is a sequel in name only to the Arnie original. As this stanky-sounding piece of IMDb trivia puts it, not one single cast member who was in Jingle All the Way is back in this movie. No, just like they didn't just say like no one. It's like not one single person. No one could be bothered.
Not even Sinbad.
Not even. And like, what was he doing?
Oh, no.
Let's eat. He wasn't busy. No. Jingle All the Way 2 stars Larry the Cable Guy. Now,
no,
I don't feel like Larry, the cult of Larry, has carried over to the UK. No, I don't know about you. I wasn't familiar with his shtick.
For some reason, I'm picturing the kind of comedian like Jethro was in the UK. I'm picturing that kind of.
From my neck of the woods. So I'm definitely familiar with. Yeah. Well. So real name, Daniel Lawrence Whitney. Larry the Cable Guy is a stand-up comedian and actor. Whitney initially performed stand-up under his real name with limited success, but became famous after developing the Cable Guy character, a personality that he now maintains throughout his stage act. I would say if you're from the UK and not familiar, I'd say probably the closest equivalent is like Al Murray's pub landlord. He's sort of like the American equivalent of that. The cable guy character has a stereotypical redneck appearance and a thick Southern accent, recounts stories about his family, and uses, among other common expressions, his catchphrase, "Get her done."
So what's this to do with? I mean, you're going to tell me, obviously, but I'm trying to think. Yeah, like you've gone from Arnie, but right, we need a follow up. Arnie doesn't want to do it. It's straight to DVD. Who are we going to get? Larry the Cable Guy, I reckon. Yeah. No.
If you're hoping I'm going to tell you how they got from point A to point B, you'll be bitterly disappointed. So announcing Jingle All the Way 2 for direct-to-home media release with a budget of $5 million, Mike Dunn, the president of 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment, said, "Larry the Cable Guy on board for Jingle All the Way 2 is a perfect star for our first family comedy with WWE Studios." Yes, the film was produced by 20th Century Fox and WWE Studios, the motion picture division of WWE.
Wow.
Why? I'm not entirely clear on the why. As a result, it received weekly on-air promotion from WWE and features wrestling stars including Santino Marella, who spent 11 years with the WWE and also voiced himself in the 2014 animated film Scooby-Doo WrestleMania Mystery. That all-time classic. Shall we watch the trailer, such as it is, for Jingle All the Way 2? Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
In honor of Christmas, I bring to everybody Larry's Parade of Lights.
You sure this is safe?
He's not what I thought he looked like.
This December, Larry the Cable Guy.
It's like a palace.
And now, as they say in French, the peace of the resistance.
Made me laugh.
This is going to be the best Christmas ever!
And it ends with Larry just rolling his eyes. Thing is, if you're watching that trailer, you wouldn't have any. You wouldn't think it was anything to do with Jingle All the Way. That just looked like a Christmas caper. You know, like Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. It looked
Chevy
like that
Chase.
sort of film. Yeah.
I don't think if you watch the film, you'd think it was anything to do with Jingle All the Way.
Have they just made a film and gone, no one's going to watch it because it's just some generic Christmas film? I'll just slap Jingle All the Way on. People go and see it. Fuck it.
I feel like you may have cracked it. People don't even have to go and see it. People will download it. People will buy it.
People will mistag it on BitTorrent and they think they've downloaded Jingle All the Way and it's the wrong one.
People will accidentally buy it, thinking it's Jingle All the Way. Yeah. Jingle All the Way 2 was written by Stephen Mazur, who he's got a pretty good pedigree. He wrote The Little Rascals and Liar Liar. Underrated Jim Carrey classic. And the film was directed by Alex Zam. Now, Zam, fascinating, because he has made a career of directing direct-to-DVD or direct-to-home media sequels, including 2003's Inspector Gadget 2, starring Third Rock from the Sun's French Stewart, 2009's Dr. Dolittle, $1 Million Mutts, 2011's Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2, and 2012's Tooth Fairy 2, a sequel to the 2010 film The Tooth Fairy, but with Dwayne Johnson replaced by Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh my
so
Lord.
It's just...
Yeah, but do you remember how we used to always say that Dwayne Johnson was the savior of franchises?
Yeah.
I feel like Larry's the opposite.
It's like if your franchise is flagging and it needs kind of like an injection of energy and adrenaline, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. If your franchise is flagging and it needs the same thing, but you've got no money.
No money left.
Larry the Cable Guy is your guy. He's your cable guy. Director Zam also voices Harrison the Talking Bear in Jingle All the Way 2, which is the toy that is kind of the central to the movie's plot. Yeah.
So his daughter really wants the talking bear in this one, not the
Well, does she? Because you know what, this film has layers. It has twists.
Oh, okay.
You might think it's heading in one direction, but it might subvert those expectations.
Interesting.
Yeah. So in the film, Larry the Cable Guy plays Larry, who is feuding with his ex-wife's new husband, Victor, played by Brian Stepanek, who is best known for his role of Arwen Hawkhauser in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Larry and Victor feud for Larry's daughters Noelle's Noelle, obviously.
Yeah.
They feud for her love, her affection. Believing Noelle wants a popular toy, said Bear, Larry tries to buy it, but Victor sabotages his efforts. So far, so Jingle All the Way. Larry and Victor eventually realize that Noelle's true Christmas wish is not the toy, but to have her family united. They reconcile and plan to celebrate Christmas together as a family.
So she ditches Victor.
No, she's like, I want you all to just, get on, and we'll all spend Christmas together. And, yeah.
So now Victor has to have Christmas with Larry sat there like a slob in the corner, ruining Christmas for him.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
I love you. I mean, immediately sided with Victor.
Yeah,
like,
I already know I'm preferring Victor to Larry.
No, I've seen the film. It's like, do you know what?
There's a reason she left you.
I've never even set eyes on Victor, but if her ex is Larry the Cable Guy, well, I can see why she left.
Right, I'm going to quickly look at Brian Stepanek and see what he looks like.
All right.
Because I guarantee... Let's do it in the era.
The Cable Guy.
Jingle All the Way 2.
Yeah.
Is he not even famous enough? Oh, here. Okay, he was in the trailer. I mean, he looks like the generic kind of new husband, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a great guy. Lovely guy.
Well, when the film was released, it received a negative review.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's got a 3.8 out of 10 on IMDb.
3.8. Wow.
31% on Rotten Tomatoes. I will say that is the audience score, because not enough critics reviewed it to give it a critic score. Slash Film, though, called it low rent and forced. Den of Geek, I'm not sure if this is a insult or not, but it said it's about as bad as you'd expect it to be. So no worse.
Yeah.
Though many reviews did point out that it wasn't exactly tarnishing a classic, because the original Jingle All the Way, again, is not actually very good.
But maybe this is why they made it, because they were like, right, if people see this, they'll then go, like we said, Ocean's 12 was so bad that it made Ocean's 13 look great. It's the same thing.
Yeah. If you had high expectations, you'd heard a lot of hype around Jingle All the Way, and then you watched it and you went, this is actually not great. Watch Jingle All the Way 2, then go back and watch Jingle All the Way. That's what you should do this Christmas. And you know what? It'll seem marginally better. So Jingle All the Way 2.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. Well, so we're doing something slightly different. But it very much in the following the Freaky franchises format. Say that 3 times fast after a few beers. Throwing across to you for the next one.
Okay, well, similar era, and sort of probably beloved in the same sort of way. The Santa Claus. Again, hadn't seen it. I think I saw this and Jingle All the Way the same year a couple of years ago. So I realised I'd never seen either of them. I was like, right, I've got to fix that. I've got to watch them both. And,
I have never seen the Santa Claus. I know the premise. I know who's in it. But I have never seen it.
While the Jingle All the Way is the Jingle All the Way, I don't know what I call it.
The Jingle All the Way.
While that is like, at times there is parts of it. This is actually quite a bad film.
Yeah.
Santa Claus actually is a pretty good. Yeah, it's just a good Christmas rom-com-y family film. So first film, 1994, directed by John Pasquin and written by Leo Benvenuti and Steve Rudnick. Stars Tim Allen as Scott Calvin, an ordinary man who accidentally causes Santa Claus, played by his actual stunt double, Steve Lucescu, to fall from his roof to his supposed death on Christmas Eve. When he and his young son Charlie finish the late St. Nick's trip and deliveries, they go to the North Pole, where Scott learns that he must become the new Santa, convince those he loves that he is indeed Santa Claus.
It was the night before Christmas, and children were dreaming of the presents Santa would bring.
Somebody's on the roof.
But this Christmas Eve...
Hey, you!
The unthinkable happened.
You killed him.
Did not.
Now, this night...
If something should happen to me, put on my suit, the reindeer will know what to do.
It's up to them...
Let's go!
...to save the day. Together, Scott Calvin and his son Charlie take on the biggest job in the world.
Looking good, Dad.
And though it has its dangers...
Nice teeth.
He thought it was just for one night.
You're the new Santa. I am not Santa Claus.
I love how everyone gets used to just Santa dying quite quickly.
You're the big guy.
They've worked for them for years. Like, some new guys come in. Fine.
Yeah.
Then there would be millions of disappointed children around the world.
He doesn't want the job.
I will say,
David Krumholtz. That was
Krumholtz.
Yeah.
Krumholtz. I will say, Tim Allen.
Getting into this.
Say what you like about Tim Allen, and I will. But his film career is actually pretty solid when you think about it. Like Toy Story, Galaxy Quest, The Santa Claus.
Yeah.
A lot of big hitters.
Yeah.
Love you, son.
Lift your spirits.
Well, this was actually his first motion picture.
Pretty cool, huh?
Share the merriment and the magic.
Seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing.
Tim Allen.
Santa?
The Santa Claus.
And again, I think similar to Jingle All the Way, he's divorced and he's, they had a lot of divorced parents in the 90s, didn't they? They like doing that. Mrs. Doubtfire, all that kind of thing.
Liar, liar.
Yeah,
very much, yeah.
That film, released in November 94, grossed $190 million, lots of positive reviews, Christmas staple now. Disney favourite in general. I like this little fact. For 1 week in November 94, Tim Allen had the number one movie at the box office with this, the number one rated TV show, Home Improvement, and the number one New York Times best-selling book, the book being Don't Stand Too Close to a Naked Man. Now, I don't know if that's a biopic, autobiography, or if that's a novel. I have no idea. But I like that he's
Do you know what?
It was a bestseller.
And I don't know, and I don't care to find out.
No, I don't want to know.
But no, he big in the 90s, Tim Allen. He was.
The Home Improvement was so big.
Huge.
He's obviously lived off Buzz Lightyear for many years, but I would if I was him.
Yeah.
A few casting potentials for you.
Yeah. Now, I feel like, how we talk about films that were made in the 90s and it's always like Arnie and Stallone?
Yeah.
I feel like these two names are very much almost like the 80s equivalents of like, were they really offered the right? Even though this film, I guess this film is very kind of, early to mid 90s, but carry on.
So, offered the role first of Scott Calvin, but both turned it down, apparently, was Bill Murray and Chevy Chase.
Well,
both of whom have done Christmas classics.
Christmas movie, yeah. They got their Christmas associations, yeah.
Well, Bill Murray said he didn't want to do another holiday-themed movie after Scrooged. Other people considered Tom Selleck, Robin Williams, Tom Hanks, and Mel Gibson. Now, I can imagine Robin and Hanks.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like at the time Gibson and Selleck were far too attractive to be.
I was literally about to say Selleck is far too sexy to play Scott Calvin. I'm sorry.
But
that's the main problem. Is I believe all the magic and all the Santa stuff. I don't believe any woman would divorce Tom Selleck in the mid 90s. I just don't.
Mel Gibson in 1994 was top notch.
Yeah.
So those were on Wikipedia and it had sort of citations. So I was like, okay, I'll go along with that. These were the IMDb-baitable casting choices. Among the actors considered for the role of Scott Calvin was Kurt Russell. And then they just said Kurt Russell would go on to play Santa in the Christmas Chronicles. And I was like, well, has someone just made that up?
Probably.
Yeah, but again...
That is very... Have you watched the Christmas Chronicles?
The first one I have, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, stop. Because
don't watch it
because the Christmas Chronicles. I don't know what you thought about it. I really enjoyed it.
It was Kurt Russell in a Christmas film. It was great.
Had a good time. I almost teared up a little bit at the end when spoilers, because the whole thing is he doesn't want to be Santa, and at the end he says ho 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 for the little girl. Loved it.
I'm not pissing, by the way. I'm pouring more beer.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Welled up a little bit. Christmas Chronicles 2. I wouldn't bother.
Really? Is it just just rubbish?
A severe downgrade.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, it's not, as much as nice as it is to see Tyrese Gibson land another acting role outside of the Fast and Furious franchise. It's not on par with the original.
Okay. Have they done a third one, or was that it?
I think I killed it. I think I killed it dead.
Okay. They do a third one. We could do Freaky Franchises 4. Anyway, so that was followed by the Santa Claus 2. Now, this is where I find it really interesting because unlike Jingle All the Way, these were cinematic releases, and I feel like
sequels.
I feel like it just passed me by. I just had no idea this happened for whatever reason. So in 2002, this time directed by Michael Lembeck, all of the main actors from the first film, including Tim Allen, Eric Lloyd, Judge Reinhold, Wendy Crewson, and David Krumholtz, reprised their roles, and joined by future Lost star Elizabeth Mitchell. And Spencer Breslin and Lilana Mummy. The film received mixed reviews from critics, but it grossed $172 million worldwide and that was pretty good.
Big hit.
Pretty good. Yeah. So in this film, he's back as Santa Claus this time. In the first film, he just sort of what happens is once he's done it throughout the year, he just gets fatter and grows a beard and just becomes Santa by the end of the year, and he sort of just goes, yeah, right. I'm just Santa now. Fine.
So he's resisting being Santa, but by the end he just goes, yeah, I'm just gonna.
He knows the spirit of Christmas.
How does that work? Does his whole family have to relocate to the North Pole? Or?
Well, I think it helped that he was divorced, I guess.
That's a good point. It's like, well, I'm gonna move there, but I'll try and still see the kids as much as I can.
So what happens in the first film? It's his house, and Santa falls off the roof, and he dies. And the rule is, you open his jacket, and there's a little note, a little card in his thing saying, "Oh, you have to do this now."
Yeah,
it's like, well, what if Santa was shot in a gangland shooting or something?
Someone evil got the power.
Yeah.
Like in Aladdin 2, The Return of Jafar, where Jafar gets the genie powers.
Obsessed with The Return of Jafar.
Any excuse to bring it up. That's why it's better, because Jafar gets the powers, and it's really exciting. I've not watched it. So
we will do an episode on it one day. It has to happen
inevitably. Yeah.
So in this one, he discovers a clause in the Santa Claus, a second clause, in the Santa contract that requires him to find a Mrs. Claus. Realizing the importance of family and love in spreading holiday cheer, Scott sets out on a quest to find a suitable companion. So it's kind of just a reason to get laid, essentially. It's just for Santa just to find a missus. And the missus he finds is Elizabeth Mitchell. So he is punching. He is somewhat punching Tim Allen. This is 2002 Tim Allen as well. It's not even 1994 Tim Allen. But the thing that I found interesting, though, I haven't seen the Santa Claus 2.
However, no, you didn't even know it existed. I mean,
what I like about it is teenage son Charlie finds himself on the naughty list because he vandalized his school. So Scott has to return home to not only search for a wife, but he has to set things right with his son. And he brings us up when he visits the Council of Legendary Figures, consisting of Mother Nature, Father Time, Cupid, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and the Sandman. So maybe Dwayne Johnson turns up as the Tooth Fairy, or actually Larry the
Cable Guy. Yeah. So, but what you've got to ask yourself is, are any of those the originals, or did they all die and got replaced by someone else who just happened to stumble?
Yeah, so they all had to do it. So if someone accidentally shot a bunny, did they have to become the Easter Bunny? Is that how it works?
And none of them are in any way qualified. No. They're all just people who have stumbled at, in fact, they're all murderers.
I feel like they need...
what terrible clause is like, if you find my dead body, you inherit everything.
Yeah. Whether you like it or
imagine
not.
If that was how it worked. Inheritance is like, well, I found his corpse, so I guess everything belongs to me now. Like, what a weird idea for a Christmas film.
It is weird.
Here's how this Christmas film starts: the death of Santa. Brilliant, like bizarre.
I remember the trailer just being, "You killed him, did not."
Yeah, but mid-90s Tim Allen could sell anything.
Yeah. So here's the trailer for Santa Claus 2.
The bio, the little description on this trailer says Scott Calvin has been Santa Claus for the past 8 years.
Oh, is it? I suppose he has. Yeah, it has been 8 years since the last film.
I'm getting strong readings from the Cap Rock, sir.
Waiting for the day.
What is it?
He'll come to town. He's the greatest Santa the world has ever known.
The greatest Santa? Have they done a poll on that, or?
You're the man. Well, they gave me the big belt.
Well, the greatest Santa the world has ever known, so he's just better than the guy who fell off the roof.
Yeah.
But was he even the first? How many Santas have there been?
Probably countless.
The fine print.
I've got to get married? Yes. It's Mrs. Claus.
The Mrs. Claus. See?
Is it called Santa Claus 2, the Mrs. Claus?
I don't think it was, but it should have been.
It should be. It really should be.
Now, I can't tell if Tim Allen just looked like this at this point.
No, I think he's
still
wearing
got prosthetics.
Okay. I don't think he's let himself go.
Again, came out in cinemas on November 1st. I just feel that's too early. I feel like
they're trying to
Anyway.
Gets earlier every year.
After that, they did a bit of a turbocharged prelude, like a la Fast and Furious.
So niche. That's such a niche reference.
By doing a short film, which I'm not going to play a clip from. It's called True Confessions of the Legendary Figures in 2003.
Yeah.
It was on the DVD, and it was just like 3.5 minute mockumentary interview with Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and all them lot. So,
yeah.
All right, fine. And then in 2006, 4 years later, Santa Claus, The Escape Clause came out at cinemas. Scott Calvin's back. He must find a way to reverse a spell cast by Jack Frost, played by Martin Short, that caused him to lose his title of Santa Claus. Most of the supporting actors from the first two films are back, with the exception of David Krumholtz. Didn't want it this one. Was he doing numbers at this point?
Things to do.
Was it numbers he was in?
Yeah. He's probably in numbers. Yeah.
This one, it grossed $110 million worldwide. Received very negative reviews this time, with Rotten Tomatoes calling it a bag of bland gags and dumb slapstick. But, $110 million, not to be sniffed at.
Yeah, not to be sniffed at for a threequel.
That's pretty good.
Most threequels are terrible, right?
Yeah. I mean, let's see a bit of Martin Short in action.
This time, Christmas is getting Jack.
Jack Frost, you are hereby charged with attempting to upstage Santa Claus in a manner that is both willful and malicious.
Excuse me. Did you just accuse me of being skillful and delicious? I'm tired of playing second fiddle. I'm going to be Santa Claus.
Jack, you gotta let this go.
You get TV specials and the postage stamps and the army of toy-building yes-men. What do I get?
Well, you get a slightly problematic horror movie is what you get, Jack Frost.
The escape
clause. The escape clause.
The escape clause
will be triggered, sending everyone back in time.
Oh.
Somebody's on the roof.
Oh,
I like that. That's cool. It's like Back to the Future where he meets his past.
Yeah.
And it was one Santa out.
You hit me with a shovel!
And let another slip in.
You tricked me!
You're not Santa anymore. You're just a guy who smells like a cookie.
This is so
Maybe laugh.
On November 3rd,
we'll call Christmas Frostmas.
The future of the holidays will be at stake.
I've done it. What have you done?
And the final chapter will begin in the greatest Santa story ever told.
I'm gonna make everything good again.
Walt Disney Pictures presents Tim Allen.
Give me a status report.
Your pants are on fire.
Yes, they are.
Martin Short.
I'm Jack Frost.
Okay, chill.
I invented chill.
Hey, Mom!
I mean,
Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause.
do you know what? Like, the premise isn't actually that bad. I actually quite like the idea of it, because it's like you get the opportunity. Because if I was Tim Allen, I'd be like, oh my God, this is my opportunity to go back and not have to do this. I could start again.
I don't really understand why Tim Allen is so enamored with being Santa Claus, if I'm honest. It feels more like a curse than a blessing.
Anyway, that's not the end of Santa Claus. In January 2022, it was announced that a sequel limited series was in development. And Tim Allen and Elizabeth Mitchell were back, as well as Eric Lloyd and David Krumholtz in supporting roles.
Yeah, numbers have been cancelled by this point. Was it?
Yeah. The official premise was announced as Scott Calvin was on the brink of his 65th birthday. I'm assuming he fixed it with Jack Frost, by the way. I haven't seen it. I assume he turns it all around in the end. And realizing he can't be Santa forever, he's starting to lose his step in his Santa duties, and more importantly, he's got a family who could benefit from a life in the normal world, especially his two kids who have grown up at the pole with a lot of at the pole. That's a weird way of putting it. With a lot of elves, children, and family to please, Scott sets out to find a suitable replacement Santa while preparing his family for a new adventure in life south of the pole. So I guess, he's just thinking, I've got to retire now. And, so I didn't know that was an option. I didn't know you could just retire whenever you like.
I feel like he should have just cashed that in day one and just been like, I'm done. Yeah.
So it premiered in November last year on Disney Plus with Cal Penn joining as the new potential Santa.
And I didn't even know that. So my Harold and Kumar reference from earlier was
exactly
Christmas magic.
Its second season premiered last month as we record this. Overall, it's received mixed reviews, but I'm glad it exists. I like the idea of it. And let's have a little clip.
So I'll never watch it, but I'm glad it exists.
I'll never watch it.
I'll never watch it.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that...
So does Tim Allen have to just throw himself off Cal Penn's roof?
Sacrifice himself.
Gonna kill me, Cal.
Come down, no.
Who are you?
I'm Santa Claus. It was different out there. All those kids turned into adults. They stopped believing. And I'm losing magic. So, for the good of Christmas, I'm retiring.
Wow, I didn't even know you could do that.
I think we see what the rest of the world's like.
Not at all.
As normal people.
I'm making a list of things I want to do, like meet a crossing guard.
Wow.
Dad.
Sandra, they warned you this is what I look like here. It's Dad, me. I'll have a Funicino. Put cocoa in it instead of coffee. Put a little peppermint in there if you have that. Chop up some cookies and sprinkles.
Name for the order?
Santa.
Sir, my job is hard enough.
Ho, ho, ho. For the first time, I'm going to spend Christmas with my family.
New Santa is destroying Christmas spirit. When the last of the light goes out, it could be the end of Christmas.
I retired too soon. I hired the wrong guy.
I love the idea he's hired Cal Penn, who's just evil.
Elves are disappearing.
Disappearing? You should have led with that. We're going.
Oh no, what have they done? What's this? It's Cardi B.
Are you seeing this?
Christmas is in trouble. Let's go.
Okay, fine. It was called The Santa Clauses, by the way. I mean, yeah. Do you know what? I like it when they do these things, and what I like about it is when all the cast still believe in it and they come back, regardless of it whether it's good or not. I like how they try and, they don't want someone else replacing them. They want to still be in it. So Elizabeth Mitchell, she's a proper actress, and yet she's still like, do you know what? I'm still going to do it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Disney pay well, so still. Anyway, that's the Santa Claus franchise, still going strong.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. No. Well, great. All right. Well, back to me. And Miracle on 34th Street. Now.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you know about Miracle on 34th Street?
Well, I know there's two versions, the famous ones.
Yeah.
One in the 40s, one in the 90s.
Correct.
I think I've seen most of the 40s one, but I've mostly seen the 90s one, and it's a very good remake with Richard Attenborough.
Correct. There's the 1947 film version starring Edmund Gwenn as Kris Kringle, a Santa at Macy's New York City store on 34th Street who's convinced he's the real Father Christmas. Also stars Natalie Wood as a young girl he befriends, and there's a 1994 remake starring Richard Attenborough as Kris Kringle and Mara Wilson as the young girl he befriends.
Mm-hmm.
But there are in fact 3 other screen versions of Miracle on 34th Street.
Okay.
So the first screen version was released to cinemas in June 1947. Is it a Christmas movie? Earning strong reviews, winning 4 Oscars and being nominated for a 5th for Best Picture. Again,
like Die Hard. I mean, Die Hard you can get away with because it's at least an action film. But to release this in the middle of summer. Well,
the height of summer.
Yeah.
So its release was accompanied by a novelization published as a 120-page novella and written by Valentine Davies, who came up with the original idea for the movie, which went under the titles of The Big Heart and It's Only Human, before the final name was landed on. The American radio anthology series Lux Radio Theatre aired a 1-hour adaptation of the movie on 3 occasions. In 1947, a version was broadcast which reunited all the original cast from the 40s movie. The following year, There was another version which reunited all the cast except Natalie Wood. And there was another radio version again in 1954. There were also 2 broadcasts on another anthology radio series, Screen Directors Playhouse, as a half-hour play on December the 23rd, 1949, and as a 1-hour play on the 23rd of December, 1950. And all of those adaptations had Edmund Gwenn reprising his screen role. So he's got to be one of the most prolific Santas.
It's just such a weird thing. Like, once you re-recorded it once, why do you have to keep doing it?
Well, it was every single year. Well, no, it was live, so they didn't.
They probably didn't record it either, did they?
No, exactly. So, again, coming back to this, is like
record it.
We just repeat it. Well, if we repeat it, we have to get everyone back in the studio and just do it all again. We should probably start recording these, really, shouldn't we? And that's how it happened. The film was also adapted into a Broadway musical titled "Here's Love" in 1963 and into a stage play in 2000. While in 2012, the Macy's department store at Herald Square in New York City featured a 30-minute puppet version of the story within its Santa Land display. Nice. If I'm sure if you were there, it was great. But most notably, there have been 3 additional versions of Miracle on 34th Street aired on television. So in 1955, on the 14th of December, a 1-hour adaptation of Miracle on 34th Street aired as the Christmas episode of CBS anthology series, The 20th Century Fox Hour.
Okay.
What sort of games do you play, Susan?
Well, he's
I
back.
don't play much with the children. They play silly.
That's a different guy.
Is it? It looks just exactly the same. That's very good casting because it looks very similar.
And all of the children.
Well, he looks like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Homer was supposed to be the zookeeper. He said, "What kind of an animal are you?" I said, "I'm not an animal. I'm a girl." He said, "Only animals allowed here. Bye."
Oh, that's too bad. Sounds like a wonderful game to me. Of course, to play it right, you've got to have imagination. You know what imagination is?
That's when you see something and it's really not there.
Well, yes. And I believe imagination is a place by itself. Yeah, the British nation and the French nation. Well, this is imagination.
So this version was helmed by Mary Poppins and Bedknobs and Broomsticks director Robert Stevenson. Nice. And it starred Thomas Mitchell as Kris Kringle.
Yeah, look just like him.
Yeah, well, Mitchell appeared in films including Gone with the Wind, The Outlaw, High Noon. He won an Oscar for his role of Doc Boone in Stagecoach, and he played Uncle Billy in It's a Wonderful Life, another Christmas classic.
Yeah.
The actor Herbert Hayes is the only actor to reprise his role from the 1947 film version, once again playing department store owner Mr. Gimble. One reviewer writing at the time in Baltimore's Evening Sun newspaper suggested that this TV version is an improvement over the original movie. Shortening the tale has made it brighter and less saccharine. 4 years later, in 1959, there was another TV adaptation of A Miracle on 34th Street, broadcast live again, and in color on NBC the day after Thanksgiving as the Christmas episode of the anthology series NBC Friday Night Special Presentation. Catchy.
Yeah.
Mr. Kringle?
Yes?
I'm a good judge. I'll be fair.
Oh, well, thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
I'm known around the circuit as Fair Frank Harper. I won't rule before the evidence is in. But I think you should know that as of the moment, from a strictly legal viewpoint, you're nuttier than a fruitcake.
That's so dramatic. The way he reacted to that, he's like, "What? What?"
He did a quadruple take. Kris Kringle was played here by Ed Wynn, a prominent American actor.
Confusing. That's very confusing.
And comedian who played Uncle Albert, not that one, in Mary Poppins.
Although he did look like Uncle Albert, ironically.
He did.
When he Horses and Horses.
Yeah. No, he played Uncle Albert in Mary Poppins and also provided the voice of the Mad Hatter in Disney's animated adaptation of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
This version of Miracle on 34th Street, again broadcast live, was thought to be lost until a surviving copy was discovered in December 2005.
Wow.
Christmas Miracle.
That is cool.
Yeah. How about that? And then finally, there was another TV version of A Miracle on 34th Street in 1973.
Okay.
1973.
How's that? Splendid.
Tell me, Doctor, do you base your analyses on the Omaha tests of the 50s or the Geschwagen adult life sample of 1967?
Have you found confusion in place of the goals you set for your life?
Not as long as I can remember.
How about doubt?
Are you happy in your work, Doctor?
The rewards you've desired and sought to attain, would you call them recognitional, or have they simply been goals on gaining affection?
Oh, I've never lacked for love. If I might suggest...
Again?
Yes, you see, nervous tension such as yours is frequently caused by insecurity. You know, the old occupational hazard.
But how would that concern Santa Claus?
But it must. When people no longer care, that's what Christmas is all about, caring for people. You should write that down.
How would you react if I said that I do not believe that you are or ever have been Santa Claus, that you're a fraud and a travesty on your namesake?
Abstention is the only way you'll ever stop biting your nails.
So this version was directed by Fielder Cook, who is best known for directing 1971 TV movie The Homecoming: A Christmas Story, which served as a pilot for TV series The Waltons. Yeah. Kris Kringle was played by Sebastian Cabot. I think it's Cabot? I'm going to say Cabot. I'm going to go with Cabot, who is best known for playing Giles French in the CBS sitcom Family Affair. And he also narrated Disney's Sword and the Stone and multiple Winnie the Pooh animated features produced in the 60s and 70s. And he voiced Bagheera in Disney's The Jungle Book.
Wow.
Natalie Wood, who played Susan in the original 40s film, was offered the role of Susan's mother, Karen, in this version, but declined. The role was eventually played by Jane Alexander, known for her roles in All the President's Men and Kramer versus Kramer. Also featured in this version was Two Geeks icon, Roddy McDowall, who you heard in that clip. It's such a great voice.
I know.
David Doyle, best known for playing Bosley on Charlie's Angels, and another Bosley, Tom Bosley, best known for playing Howard Cunningham on Happy Days and for playing the title character in the Father Dowling mysteries, which I feel like when we get into like the 300s, we'll probably do an episode on the Father Dowling mysteries at some point. But there you go, multiple miracles. I had no idea. Everyone knows about the 40s version. Everyone knows about the 90s version. I had no idea there were that many versions of them. And you know, when you do each one has its own fan base. Like, a lot of them are available on YouTube, and people are saying, "Oh, I remember watching that version as a kid, and I'm so glad I found this version. I thought I dreamt it." So, there you go, multiple miracles.
That's nice, isn't it? Just hearing about Father Dowling, Christ, have you ever watched it?
Never.
It's not the best. It's very much like, you know, like Rosemary and Thyme, how they would always get involved in crimes, and it's like, just get on with the gardening, stop getting involved. You're not, it's ridiculous. And it was like that with Father Dowling. It's like, you have to get involved in all. Just leave it alone. Just
I love you're watching all these shows, getting stressed, being like, Jessica, get on with your book tour.
But
you've got dates, you've got commitments. You don't have time to be solving these murders, Jessica.
The thing is, if I was in the town that Rosemary and Thyme lived in, I'd be like, it's a bit of a coincidence that every single crime occurs when they're doing the gardening for this particular person.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, this is it. It's like the murder she wrote theory, where actually Jessica Fletcher is history's greatest serial killer.
Yeah.
Maybe Rosemary and Thyme were at it with the shears.
Yeah. Anyway, back to me, and probably the most iconic Christmas film ever, I guess. But we talked about this in our "Is It Actually a Christmas Film or Not" episode. We're talking about the 1946 classic "It's a Wonderful Life" with James Stewart. Did we establish it was a Christmas film in the end?
Yeah. So what happened was you started arguing that it wasn't, and then halfway through you realised that you were totally wrong, and backtracked, and then ended up arguing that it was you sort of like outfoxed yourself. It was fascinating to witness.
I'm still in two minds about it. I feel like the last 10 minutes it is a Christmas film, and then the rest of it is just a nice film.
Well, that's all.
It's actually a horrible film for most of it.
But all anyone remembers is an angel comes down, and then at the end he's like, oh, great, yeah, I love my family. And everyone like brings him money, and then he's like, oh, that's right. Oh, an angel gets his wings. Oh, that's right. And that's all anyone remembers. And most of the film is just
horrible.
Like, horrible, and depressing, and not set on Christmas.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, if somehow you didn't know, it follows the life of George Bailey, played by James Stewart, a kind-hearted man who has spent his entire life helping others in his small town of Bedford Falls. On Christmas Eve, facing financial ruin and contemplating suicidal. George is visited by his guardian angel, Clarence. In an effort to show George the positive impact he has had on the lives of those around him, Clarence takes him on a journey through an alternate reality where George was never born. As George witnesses the profound effects of his existence, he comes to realise the true meaning of love, life, and the importance of community.
I feel like Clarence oversold, to be honest, because yes, okay, like everyone's life is better because George is around, fine, but like Potter doesn't get his comeuppance. He's Potter's still run off with all the money, and he's like, oh, that's right, yeah, an angel gets his wings. This is all really nice, but once we're done here, I'm going to find Potter and I'm going to kick his ass and get my money back, because like George is still like his life is still shit. It doesn't change the fact that his life is still terrible.
You feel a bit guilty that you've taken all that money from everyone in town. You'd be like, I've got to really make the most of this. I can't fuck it up now. I've got to make sure.
And why are all the townsfolk having to like fund George? Like, find Potter, get the money back. What are you doing? That should, if you're talking, that should be the sequel to this. Is like the townsfolk with burning torches, hunting down Potter and giving him.
Maybe people were nicer back in the 40s, but I feel like if I was in that town, I'd be like, I barely know George. Why do I need to? Like your friends.
It's like Ross in that one episode of Friends.
I've never met Howard. I've just moved in.
It's like, George. Well, vaguely. I mean, we sort of say hello to each other once.
I've seen him at the gym once. I mean, that's
and it's like, the gym. It's just like, I'm pumping hard. Oh yeah, and he's just like, it's Christmas. Like famously,
I haven't got $50 to give to Park.
No, like famously, this is a very expensive time. Like I don't have to. When what they should have been doing is lighting those torches. Hunting down Potter.
Mr. Potter. So obviously...
It's a Wonderful Life 2. Get Potter. That's what I want to see.
There's been lots of adaptations on radio and musicals and homages of the main plot in loads of TV shows and films of the years. Paul McCartney is currently making a stage musical based on it. Now, this is one of those things that was announced like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's just sort of gone quiet. And I don't know if Paul's just gone, I've got other Beatles things I've got to concentrate on. I'm sort of...
I'm going to prioritise the Beatles stuff.
Yeah. So here's just a few things. First, in 1986, there was a skit on Saturday Night Live which featured William Shatner introducing the lost ending of It's a Wonderful Life, in which George Bailey, played by Dana Carvey, of course, and the citizens of Bedford Falls discovered that Mr. Potter, played by John Lovitz, had stolen George's money and take turns beating him up in his office. There you go. That's what you wanted. Mr. Potter got beaten up. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I think we mentioned this in the Tiny Toons episode in 1992. The final episode of Tiny Toon Adventures parodied It's a Wonderful Life with It's a Wonderful Tiny Toons Christmas. So I love the final episode. They're like, let's just go out on a high.
Yeah, I feel like this podcast has been going on too long. When we can make that connection, we can go. Obviously, we previously did a Tiny Toons Adventures episode, and now we're doing It's a Wonderful Life. So we can join those dots. Perfect.
There was It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio play. That's what a live radio play. A stage adaptation presented as a 1940s radio show, adapted by Joe Landry, and has been produced around the United States since 1997. So that's like the version that keeps coming back. And also in 1997, PBS aired Merry Christmas, George Bailey, takes from a live performance of the 1947 Lux Radio Theatre script at the Pasadena Playhouse.
I didn't know you were doing this, but we both dropped references to the Lux Radio Theatre. So there you go. Didn't know that was happening.
This presentation featured an all-star cast, including Bill Pullman as George, Nathan Lane as Clarence, Martin Landau as Mr. Potter, Penelope Ann Miller as Mary, and Sally Field as Mother Bailey. That's really cool.
What a cast!
I know. And then
Bill Pullman, also star of one of my favourite, not really Christmas, but definitely like wintry movies, While You Were Sleeping.
Oh yeah, cracking film. Yeah, it's good.
Cracking film.
I mean, I think it's weird to propose to someone you've not even kissed her yet, but fine. we'll go along with it. You know,
Bill's so charismatic that he knows.
He just knows.
He knows. He knows. He's got it in the bag.
Yeah. That is a good film. And then in 2002, there was the TV film It's a Very Merry Muppets Christmas Movie on NBC. This is a homage to It's a Wonderful Life. And written here says, in the film, Kermit the Frog wishes that he had never been born. It's just a phrase. Now, Kermit wishes he had never been born.
Now I'm definitely more on board with the idea that the world would be worse without Kermit in it. Also, I feel like this is definitely like something that most people don't know about, because everyone's always like, they did Muppet Christmas Carol famously, Muppet Treasure Island. Why don't they do more films?
Yeah.
You know, twists on familiar stories with the Muppets. They did Muppet Christmas, Muppet It's a Wonderful Life.
One Flew Over the Muppet's Nest. You know, just go for it.
That would be
Here's a little trailer.
Miss Piggy as Nurse Ratched. I can see that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, jingle bells, jingle bells.
Forgot about that guy.
Sing a song with me, baby.
The Tony Bennett Muppet.
What's eating Kermit?
Where's your holiday spirit?
It's almost Christmas.
Would you please leave me alone?
I don't know if it's just my humour, but the Muppets just make me laugh. They just make me laugh.
Yeah. It'd be a better place without him.
I can't help you. I'll ruin your life. This is a major crisis. I'm taking Kermit's case to the boss.
David Arquette and William H. Macy.
William H. Macy.
Yeah.
Career suicide.
And Whoopi
Goldberg.
Justice? Me? You'll be fine.
How? What is this? I had no idea this existed.
Give up.
I wish I'd never been born. What's the matter with you? Ugh. Welcome to the world in which you were never born.
Kermit got a chance to see just how much of a difference
The Muppet Theater. Do you want to see how that turned out without you?
one frog can make.
And it's like a brothel or something.
It's a very merry Muppet Christmas movie.
Now the joke's over.
Starring David Arquette.
I don't joke. I've been told I'm not funny.
Joan Cusack.
Joan Cusack.
Joan Cusack.
Bad guy.
Matthew Lillard. William H. Macy.
Feliz Navidad, amigo.
Such a 90s cast. Could be more 90s.
Oh, Matthew Lillard. Of course. I said Matthew Miller. I was like, who's that?
Not to mention all of your favorite Muppets. Kermit. Miss Piggy. Fozzie. Rizzo. Gonzo. Pepe.
Hey.
Yeah.
Dr. Honeydew. And Beaker. It's a
They got a shout out.
Christmas movie.
Now,
It's a Muppetful Life.
Wow, a Muppetful Life.
I'm definitely gonna watch that this Christmas.
Oh,
no question.
How have I never seen it? Because I'm
watching that this Christmas, no question. Now they say they're all of your favourite Muppets. I'm going to throw it out there. Who is your favourite Muppet?
It's probably Gonzo, if I'm honest.
Right. Right.
Kermit is amazing, isn't he? I mean, let's be honest.
Look, Kermit is great, but it's a basic choice. It's like saying, it's like, do you know what? I've got a lot of time for Pepe. I have to say, an underrated Muppet. Pepe he's like, everything's going good, okay, great. Love Pepe.
Yeah, no, I like the weird one, like Sweetums, whatever his name is. You know, the big one.
Yeah, he's good.
It was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Muppet Christmas Carol is my favourite Christmas film ever.
Yeah.
And now I didn't know that there was a film again doing It's a Wonderful Life. I mean,
looks quite good as well.
Yeah. Then you had The Last Temptation of Clarence Oddbody, and is a 2011 novel by John Pearson. The novel imagines the future lives of various characters if George had not survived his jump into the river. So it's like, oh shit, he died. Okay, well, let's see what happened next then, shall we?
Oh, so it like stays in the universe where...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Don't know if anyone's crying out for that, but it's there. And then there was 1990's Mr. Destiny, which was heavily inspired by the film, starring James Belushi, Linda Hamilton, Michael Caine, John Lovitz, Rene Russo, and Courtney Cox. And what a cast that is.
Again, very 90s.
James Belushi plays the role of Larry Burrows, a middle-aged man who feels dissatisfied with life. One day, Larry encounters a mysterious bartender named Mike, played by Michael Caine, who offers him a chance to see how his life would have turned out if he had made different choices. Larry accepts the offer and wakes up to a new reality where he is wealthy, successful, and has everything he had ever desired. However, he soon realizes that his alternate life comes with its own set of challenges and problems. As Larry navigates this unfamiliar world, he begins to appreciate the value of the life he once took for granted. I mean, it's not technically It's a Wonderful Life, but it's kind of It's a Wonderful Life. So, and when am I ever going to talk about Mr. Destiny ever again? So, his little trailer, just great seeing Michael Caine and anything, really, more than anything else. So, and James Belushi, justice for James Belushi. He's better. He deserves better. He's good. He was really good. Everyone
you were going to say I was good. He is Jim. You were going to say,
oh yeah,
he's better. He's better than John.
No, John's great as well, but like everyone forgets that James is good as well. He was great.
Yeah,
still is.
Justice for Jim.
Yeah. Not saying the film's any good. Just
Larry Bird has spent his life.
Just glad it's working.
Just hit that ball.
See, he was going to be a baseball star and he didn't.
A half a second sooner.
Were you thinking about that silly baseball game again?
But today is Larry's birthday.
Sorry, is the idea then that Jim Belushi is married to early 90s Linda Hamilton, and he's like, oh, my life's terrible.
Down on his luck.
Yeah, down on my luck. Come on, Jim.
And Michael Caine's at a bar. He's like, you can have it even better than this.
Cindy Joe.
Happy birthday, darling.
God help me.
Now Larry's got everything a man could ever want.
Who do these cars belong to? Well, they belong to you, sir. Get the hell out of here. As you wish, sir.
Except the one thing that...
Lovely Linda Hamilton is just a lovely wife, and he's just being like, yeah.
I mean, she's my wife, for Pete's sake.
She was your wife.
Ask me something I couldn't possibly know.
The day I got my driver's license, I got pulled over for speeding. I want to know the name of the song on the radio.
This does seem to be the premise that, everything's great, but he's no longer married to Linda Hamilton.
Exactly.
And he's like, do you know what? Yeah. I did often wonder what Linda Hamilton did between Terminator and Terminator 2. Now I know.
Yeah.
Mr. Destiny.
Was this Michael Caine's Jaws 3 era, or whatever it was?
Jaws 4. Yeah. It was Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. A very similar premise actually to The Family Man with Nicolas Cage. If you've seen that, it's very, very similar. He's like a. Is
that the one where he's a weatherman?
No, he's like like a business type, and he's just a bit of a Scrooge, and then something happens, and he wakes up one day, and his whole life is the same age and the same time and everything, but he's waking up and he's with his ex that he broke up with like 10 years ago, and he's with her and he's got kids, he's got family and all this, but he's still got the memories of before and blah blah blah. So it's a very that kind of thing. Perfectly pleasant. Just like seeing Nicolas Cage in a bit of a rom-com. It's quite nice. And then with It's a Wonderful Life, there's been a few other remakes. You then had It Happened One Christmas from 1977, a TV movie remake. This employed a gender reversal. So this is very of now, back in the 70s.
Yeah.
This is, Marlo Thomas played Mary Bailey. And then you had Wayne Rogers as George and Cloris Leachman as the angel Clara Oddbody. Leachman received a 10th Emmy nomination for this role. And then a significant departure from his earlier roles. Orson Welles was Mr. Potter. I mean...
What? Again, talking about Michael Caine, what was going on with Orson Welles? Where he was like...
This not quite Transformers era, is it?
No, but this is it. He's like... Oh, I'm Orson Welles, and I'm going to be in a 1977 television movie remake of It's a Wonderful Life, and then I'm going to be the voice of Unicron in Transformers the movie. Weren't you in Citizen Kane, The Third Man? I gotta eat. I gotta eat a lot. So
I like eating. So following initial positive reviews, the made-for-TV film was rebroadcast twice in 78 and 79. People liked it, but not been shown ever again on national rebroadcast or ever released on home media. Never released, never bothered. Why? It sounds great. I want to watch it. There was only a few clips I could find on YouTube. Here's one of them.
It's the most warm-hearted Christmas story ever.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter!
A retelling of Frank Capra's classic.
You've never been born. What do you mean I've never been born? Of course I was born.
Wayne Rogers, Marlo Thomas, Cloris Leachman and Orson Welles.
There he is.
Get me back. I want to live again.
It happened one Christmas.
Tonight at 8 on WCIX, Channel 6.
But I love they didn't bother calling it It's a Wonderful Life. They were just like, maybe they weren't allowed to call it that for some reason.
No.
Who knows? And then you had The Christmas Spirit, a retelling of the film starring Nicolette Sheridan as Charlotte Hart. This was a Hallmark film, which I have to say, at Christmas times, I bloody love a Hallmark film. I know they're rubbish. I know they're dreadful. I know they're the same every time. I know that it always involves a bakery or... It's always
a woman.
Yeah, a high-flying woman from the big city coming back to her hometown.
She's like a journalist or a businesswoman, and she has to go back to her hometown.
Job. Yeah.
She has to go back to her hometown for a baking contest.
Like it's always called like Autumn Falls or something. It's always that kind of name as a town.
And then she falls in love with a man who like chops down trees for a living. Like
and the man is either someone that she went to school with but got hot. And maybe an ex, but not normally. And they're either a widow, so they've got a kid, or they've got a dog. It's one of the two. It's one of the two. And sometimes they have a famous parent. My favorite one, we watched one called Pumpkin Everything. It was an awesome film, and it was starring
not even a Christmas film.
No, it's as the dad, Michael Ironside from fucking Total Recall. You know, like proper 80s action star. I mean, he's really old and fat now, and it was just like starring Michael Ironside. It's like bloody hell, he's back.
He was the Orson Welles of that movie, very much so.
But anyway, I love a Hallmark film. So if you want to watch an It's a Wonderful Life Hallmark film, find The Christmas Spirit. This one's set in the present day. And she is working to save a quiet New England town from a ruthless real estate developer. And I bet she falls in love with that ruthless real estate developer who just happens to be bloody good looking and chiseled. You know,
he sees the error of his ways. This is where we've come to as a society that eventually George Bailey shags Potter. That's basically what we've landed on. Great.
And there was also technically a sequel, 1990s Clarence. So in 1990, there was a made-for-TV film directed by Eric Till, and it technically, officially, a spin-off of It's a Wonderful Life, but this time following the character of Clarence Oddbody, the angel. So in this, Robert Carradine plays Clarence. For some reason, he's gotten younger since earning his wings. Don't worry about it. And after helping George Bailey back in 1946, now he has an unspecified problem with his last assignment to help someone, and he'd prefer to stay in heaven working on clocks. Okay, he only agrees to return to Earth because the widow of a new angel is considering suicide. They love a bit of suicide in these films, don't they? The fellow angel, played by Richard Fitzpatrick, was a computer expert who died before he could perfect a voice-activated computer cartoon that is part of his educational computer games that teach kindness. This is a bit far too complicated.
This is very 1990.
Yeah. The new angel's widow, Rachel, played by Kate Trotter, is raising two children and trying to improve her husband's invention and keep the family company solvent while dealing with a greedy man played by Louis Del Grande, who wants to buy the company and use its technology to create violent children's games. Clarence is constantly monitored by a recording angel, whatever that means, and is forbidden to tell everyone he is an angel. If he doesn't succeed in helping Rachel, he will not be able to return to heaven. I mean...
That is far too...
I like the idea. If they did it properly in 1990, again, imagine if you cast Robin Williams or Bill Murray or someone proper.
Yeah.
Sorry, Robert, but, someone proper and did it, proper cinematic release. It is a sequel. It's Clarence. He's back and he's got one last thing to finally get out of heaven. But instead you came up with this weird, who approved the plot of it being about educational computer games, but he wants to do one with violent video games. And
who signed off on this?
Who signed off on that? But anyway, the thing I liked about it most is the poster.
Yeah.
Now look at it, but look at the text because they had to explain what it is. So explain. Say what the poster is.
So you I can see the pic, and you scroll down, and it got funnier the more you scrolled. So it's Robert Carradine. He's all in a white suit with wings and a little halo.
Sexy, which I don't remember Clarence being sexy in the first film.
No, he's gotten younger and sexy since he got his wings.
And a tan somehow. He's got a tan.
He's got his hand kind of posed on his chin there.
Yeah.
And he's got his knee. It's like his legs are kind of like posed. He's kind of like his knees kind of cocked. He's got a little, and the tagline says, "The angel from
This is my
It's
favorite.
Wonderful Life."
It's my favorite
is
bit
back.
about it. Yeah, the angel from It's a Wonderful Life is back. So, because they know that anyone looking at that poster is like, oh, what's that? I don't know what this is. But it says on the right-hand side, in quite small letters, the angel from It's a Wonderful Life is back. This is why you need to see this film. It's the angel from It's a Wonderful Life. You know that film we've seen every Christmas in 1946? Yeah, that. This is the same angel. But he doesn't look anything like the angel from the first. Oh, don't worry about it. But it is the same angels. Please come and see it.
But I don't feel like Clarence was the breakout character from It's a Wonderful Life. I don't understand why they're like constantly. Hollywood keeps coming back to this idea of the further adventures of Clarence is what we need. I don't get it.
But anyway, just love that. But straight to no,
VHS,
sorry, made for TV. It wasn't a proper cinematic release. Would you like a little clip from the film?
I would love a little clip from the film.
Okay. It's 1990, remember?
In a world full of chaos, sometimes it takes more than courage, more than determination.
This is not a film that deserves the intro. In a world.
No. Far too over the top.
Rachel, I'm an angel.
Rachel, I'm an angel.
A story that reaches across the boundaries of heaven and earth.
It's what keeps the dreamers dreaming and the doers doing.
Robert Carradine is Clarence, a Family Channel world premiere movie, coming November 22nd at 8, 7 Central.
Remember Clarence? I think there's a second trailer.
In 1946, an angel named Clarence helped George Bailey find a wonderful life.
Oh, they've got the footage from It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, they were like, in 1946, there was this really old dude. It was Clarence. Remember him? Anyway, someone who looks completely different. It's the same guy, though.
Why is he?
It's the same guy.
Why is he young and sexy now? Why have they sexed up Clarence?
45 years later,
it's only 45 years later. Isn't that crazy to think that when we were born, we're only like 40 years from the fucking war? I just feel that makes us so old. Do you know what I mean? Because 40 years ago now is like the early 80s. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like how so the other day I saw something that said that it's as long between now and when GTA Vice City came out as it is between when GTA Vice City came out and the 80s. Which is disgusting. Utterly disgusting.
It really doesn't do you justice.
The Hollywood Reporter calls Clarence a perfect holiday tale.
Sure it does.
Variety says it has just the right mix of whimsy.
Just the right mix of whimsy.
Into your Christmas season when Robert Carradine stars as Clarence, an encore presentation of a Family Channel world premiere movie. Tuesday night at 8, 7 Central.
The Family Channel. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
And there was also a potential sequel that was in development for a 2015 release, and it was going to be called It's a Wonderful Life, the rest of the story.
A sequel to It's a Wonderful Life, not a sequel to Clarence and Robert Carradine.
No, sadly not.
To be clear.
Oh, that'd be amazing. There's probably fans out there somewhere that would watch it, you know. But I love that. It should have called it It's a Wonderfuller Life or something.
Yeah.
It was written by Bob Farnsworth and Martha Bolton, and it would follow the angel it would follow the angel of George Bailey's daughter Zuzu, played by Caroline Grimes again. So back from the original, but grown up, which is awesome. As she teaches Bailey's evil grandson how different the world would have been if he had never been born. So sort of a reversal. So the grandson's a dick, and it's like, look how great the world would be if you weren't fucking around.
And that's what I'm
guessing. That's what I'm guessing.
And that teaches him to change his ways.
Yeah, maybe.
That's pretty good. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Producers were considering directors and hoped to shoot the film in 2014. The film had been announced as being produced by Star Partners and Hummingbird Productions, neither of which were affiliated with Paramount, the owners of the original film. And with Farnsworth, it's like, well, look, it's in public domain. I can do what I want with it. I can do what I want. But then Paramount were like, nah. You can't do that. And they said, to date, these individuals have not obtained any of the necessary rights, and we would take all appropriate steps to protect those rights. So as of last Christmas, it was still not happened. So I love that these people were like, oh no, we'll make it. And then Paramount were like, no, you won't. That's new.
That's like if me and you just went, yeah, we're going to make a sequel to It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
And they were, no. Yeah.
But it sounds like a good idea.
I was going to say, it's a shame because that is a good idea. It's a good idea. Yeah.
Well, there you go. That is it. That is my take on It's a Wonderful Life.
Wow. I've very much enjoyed learning all about these festive sequels that I had no idea existed, except the ones which I talked about, which you had no idea existed.
No. Yeah.
But there is much more to unwrap at twogeeks2beers.com, including 2 previous episodes on freaky franchises and 8 previous Christmas specials. Yeah. But before we slay goodbye, remember you can follow us on all the socials at 2geekscast on Facebook, Instagram, and X. We're also on YouTube and TikTok, where you'll find clips from episodes old and new, as well as full-length episodes.
And please also rate and review the podcast via your podcast outlet of choice, where you can also subscribe. You can also become a 2 Geeks supporter on Patreon, which is patreon.com/2geekscast. You can sponsor the podcast, and in return, you can get exclusive Patreon-only minisodes, outtakes, personalized thank you videos, and merch, and much more. And we also had a new subscriber, Tom Atkins. Thank you very much for your support. And we'll give you a shout out on the show notes as well. So have a look on there, and you can see all the different things you can get on all the different tiers.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Your beer mat is on its way. You can also email us, podcast@twogeeks2beers.com, with any thoughts, feedback, suggestions for future episodes, and festive wishes. Thanks for joining us. We're already stocking up plenty of exciting content for the new year, so we'll be back in 2024. Until then, Merry Geekmas and a Happy New Beer.
Bye.